Good afternoon, everyone. It is very glad to share with you some information related to recording observation. My presentation will mainly focus on dental collection. Before I talking about how to gather data during observation, I want to have a brief discussion about observation. Observation is usually related to a code sheet which might be used to record instances of specified behavior. And not every observation will be well structured. Some less structured observations can be compared to a television camera scanning the area. And where to begin looking depends on the research question, but where to focus or stop action cannot be determined ahead of time. The focus of observation must be allowed to emerge and in fact may change over the course of study. About this brief discussion of observation, I want to introduce you the main contents of my presentation, which will include 4 parts. The first one is related to design, and the second one is about types. The third one is dental collection, and the last one is a list of references. Before we talking about how to gather dental during observation, it is very important for us to know how to design observation and what kinds of observation will we have. Then, about observation design, there are altogether 6 main factors should be considered. The first one is about the physical setting. What kind of situation were you going to choose to conduct your observation, and what kind of participants will be included into your observation? And you should consider what activities and interactions you are going to observe. What kind of conservation were you going to have with your participants? And besides those key factors, there are also some subtle factors will be very important, such as some informal and unplanned activities. And last, your own behavior will also play a very important role during your observation. After you know how to design an observation, what kind of activities you will focus on, what the physical setting you are going to choose, who you are going to observe, then it is very important for you to choose a type of observation. The observation could be separated into 4 different types according to the relationship between observer and observed. About complete participant. In this type of observation, the researcher is a member of the group being studied and conceals his or her observer role from the group so as not to disrupt the natural activity of the group. Then about this type of observation participant as observer, the researcher's observer activities which are known to the group, subordinate to the researcher's role as a participant. Then about this type of observation, observer as participant, the researcher's observer activities are known to the group, but participant in the group is definitely secondary to the role of information gatherer. Then in this type of observation, the research is either hidden from the group or is in a completely public setting, such as an airport. Okay. Then the observation could also be separated into online and offline observations. The online observation is mainly conducted in virtual environment. On the contrary, offline observation will be mainly conducted in physical environment. Online observation usually gather observational data by making use of new media technologies. Online communities are also typically subcultures of larger communities made of people with a particular interest. You can see there are a lot of difference between online and offline observation. Due to the limitation of my presentation time, I could not make a detailed explanation of them. But the most important one is this: the virtual presence and the physical presence observations. Okay, the virtual one must be online and the physical one must be offline observation. Then, after you know how to design an observation and what kind of observation you will have conduct, we will go into the next step about data collection. Actually, there are also 3 steps for data collection. The first one is entry, and the second one is data collection, and the last one is exist. Before you are going to collect some data, it is very important to enter this physical setting. And before you enter the physical setting, some questions may be asked, such as, what are you actually going to do? What are you going to do with your findings? Will you be disruptive? And why eyes? What will we get out of this? Some of these questions will be asked. You should know how to answer these questions at the beginning of the observation for your entry to the physical setting. Then, about data collection, there are also some very important points to be considered in your first few days in the field. But I think it is very important to keep in mind that the more familiar everything feels and the more comfortable you are in the setting, the longer you will be able to observe. And it is probably best to do more frequent, shorter observations at first. Then, a very important role to take notes is called field notes. And field notes can come in many forms. But at the least, they include descriptions, direct quotations, and observer comments. The content of the field notes usually include in the following several points. The first one is verbal descriptions of the setting, the people, the activities, and the second one is related to direct quotations or at least the substance of what people said. And the last one is related to observers' comments, put in the margins or in the running narrative and identified by underlining, italics, or bold, and bracketing, and the initials. For field notes, it is very important to be high descriptive. Enough detail should be given that readers feel as if they are there, seeing what the observer says. And the other one is very important to be reflective. Reflective comments can include the researcher's feelings, reactions, hunches, elation, interpretations, speculations, and working hypotheses. Then, there are also some other methods to take records, such as video, cameras, laptop computers, but the cost and obtrusiveness of these methods often preclude their use. Therefore, as far as I am concerned, field notes may be a better choice. And after you gather the data, it is very important to make a recording towards those data. You should pay attention to this process, how to record data, and to make a shift from a wide angle to a narrow angle lens. That is, focusing on a specific person, interaction, or activity while mentally blocking out and all the others. Then you should look for keywords in people's remarks that will stand out later. It is better to concentrate on the first and the last remarks in each conversation. And it is mentally playback remarks and scenes during breaks in the talking or observation. And after you gather the data you need, it is very important to leave the field. And actually, leaving the field, however, may be even more difficult than getting entry, because relationship has been formed, habitual patterns has been established. But no matter how, you should figure out how to exist from the physical city. And now it's time for me to leave my presentation. It's time for me to say goodbye.